What if the third eye isn't a metaphor? What if it's not about gentle meditation and seeing colorful auras, but a dormant piece of biological hardware? A forgotten sensory organ, hardwired into our anatomy, that ancient civilizations knew exactly how to activate. Today, we see it as a symbol of spiritual wellness. A harmless icon on a yoga studio wall, or a trendy tattoo. But what if the ancient world saw it differently? Not as a symbol, but as a tool, a dangerous one. What if this eye could perceive realities that exist just outside our five senses? Not just vibes or feelings, but tangible, structured dimensions of existence, patterns in time, echoes of the past, blueprints of the future. And what if the knowledge to unlock it wasn't just lost to time, but was deliberately hidden? Sealed away by esoteric orders and forgotten priesthoods because its power was too disruptive, too paradigm-shattering to be controlled. We're not just exploring a myth tonight. We're on the hunt for what might be a lost human faculty, a secret, key that doesn't just open the mind, but could rewrite the very definition of what it means to be conscious. So where does our hunt for this biological hardware begin? Let's start with anatomy. Deep in the geometric center of your brain sits a tiny, pinnacle-shaped gland, the pineal gland. In modern medicine, it's known for producing melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep cycles. A simple biological clock keeper. Case closed, right? Not so fast. This is where history gets strange. Let's journey back thousands of years to the blistering sun of the Nile Valley. Carved into temple walls and painted onto papyrus scrolls, we find it again and again, the iconic Eye of Horus. Officially, it's a symbol of protection, healing, and royal power. But look closer. Ancient astronaut theorists and esoteric anatomists have pointed out something unnerving. When you overlay the 6 distinct parts of the Eye of Horus onto a cross-section of the human brain, the alignment is jaw-dropping. The lines seem to map directly onto key structures of the thalamus, the midbrain, and, you guessed it, the pineal gland. A coincidence? Or were the high priests of Egypt masters of anatomy, through their mummification practices, leaving us a coded diagram? A hidden map to the seat of perception itself, disguised as divine myth. They weren't just drawing a god's eye. They were drawing our eye. The one we've forgotten we adopt now. Let's travel eastward, across deserts and mountains, to the cradle of Hinduism. Here, the concept isn't hidden in coded symbols. It's front and center. They call it the Ajna Chakra, the 6th primary energy center, the third eye. Picture the statues of Shiva, the supreme deity, often depicted with a literal eye in the middle of his forehead. This wasn't for seeing the material world. This was the eye of Jnana, of profound, intuitive knowledge. It was said that when Shiva opened this eye, he incinerated illusion and perceived the ultimate truth of the cosmos. For the yogis and rishis meditating in remote Himalayan caves, activating the Ajna Chakra wasn't a party trick. It was the key to transcending the cycle of life and death. It was a spiritual technology for perceiving the unseen architecture of reality. They developed entire sciences: yoga, pranayama, meditation, all designed to awaken this dormant center. This thread continues into the 19th and coffined 20th centuries with esoteric movements like Theosophy, founded by figures like H.P. Blavatsky. They synthesized these Eastern philosophies for a Western audience, popularizing the term third eye and linking it directly to the pineal gland as a vestigial organ of spiritual perception. Suddenly, this ancient Hindu concept was being discussed over tea and scones in London, albeit stripped of much of its original, formidable context. From the hieroglyphs of Egypt to the sutras of India to the philosophy of Descartes, are we looking at separate, coincidental myths? Or are we tracing the fingerprints of a single, powerful truth? A lost human faculty, described through different cultural lenses, all pointing to the same spot in our heads. Already intrigued? Hit that subscribe button, because what comes next is where the story takes a darker turn. The ancients didn't just document how to open this eye. The texts also contain warnings, chilling accounts of why it should sometimes remain closed. So, if they knew how to turn it on, they must have also known why you would desperately need to turn it off. What were they so afraid of? So, what were the ancients so afraid of? Why would they document a powerful human faculty, only to plaster it with warning signs? The common assumption is that these warnings were metaphors, allegories for the psychological dangers of enlightenment losing. Your ego, facing your inner demons, the madness that can come from profound self-discovery. A tidy, modern psychological explanation. But what if it's not a metaphor at all? What if the warnings were literal? Imagine the third eye not as a simple camera, but as a lighthouse. And your consciousness is its blinding beam, sweeping across a vast, dark, and very, very crowded ocean. An ocean teeming with other forms of consciousness. Things that exist in the spectra our five senses can't detect. What if opening that eye doesn't just let you see out, it lets them see in? Suddenly, all those arcane, seemingly superstitious practices make terrifying sense. Why did so many ancient traditions, from Hermetic magicians to Tibetan monks, surround their awakening rituals with such intense protective measures? Think of the intricate magic circles, the sacred geometry, the endless chants designed to ward off unseen forces. Maybe they weren't just for show. Maybe they were essential. Firewalls for the soul. Security protocols for browsing the cosmos. Some researchers, like the late author John Keel, who investigated strange phenomena, proposed that our reality is interwoven with what he called ultra-terrestrials, intelligences that are not from other planets, but from other dimensions, coexisting with us, unseen. According to this fringe theory, they can influence our thoughts, our perceptions, our world. If given an open channel now, picture this guided scenario. In the present day, someone pursues this awakening casually, perhaps through a guided meditation app. They open the digital back door to their own mind without any of the ancient firewalls, without any of the protective knowledge. They are broadcasting a signal, an open invitation into the dark. This leads us to the most powerful, paradigm-shattering twist, the secret that might have been guarded most fiercely. What if the pineal gland, the third eye, isn't entirely ours? What if it's a biological interface, a two-way communication device, hardwired into us, that another intelligence, something ancient, non-human, and unimaginably different can also use? Not just a window we can look out of, but a door that something else can knock on. A doorbell on the very edge of our reality. The ultimate secret isn't how to open the eye. It's the terrifying realization of what might be waiting on the other side. So the real question was never, can we achieve enlightenment? But something far more chilling. If you switch on the light, what kind of moths will be drawn to your flame? So we are left at a fascinating, unsettling crossroads. On one path, the modern, comfortable view. The third eye as a beautiful metaphor for intuition, a peaceful path to self-awareness, sold in wellness retreats and mindfulness apps. It's safe. It's marketable. It's a version of the truth that has been neatly packaged and stripped of its power dot. But on the other path, the one carved by ancient hands into temple stone and whispered in secret texts, it's something else entirely. A biological switchboard, a cosmic gateway, a piece of our own neurology that might not be entirely private. This isn't just a story about forgotten gods or dusty scrolls. It's a story about the architecture of your own consciousness. That tiny, pinnacle-shaped gland is sitting in the geometric center of your brain right now. Silent, dormant, a biological enigma. Is it merely a humble melatonin factory, a simple evolutionary relic that helps you sleep? Or is it a sealed door, waiting for a key we have long forgotten how to even hold, let alone turn? The ancients didn't leave us a self-help guide. They left us a user manual with the final, most crucial chapter deliberately ripped out. The one simply labeled Warning. Perhaps the ultimate human evolution isn't about building faster technology or conquering distant stars. Maybe it's about finally understanding the technology that already exists inside each of us. The question was never, is the third eye real? The far more important question is, are we ready for the reality it might reveal? And that concludes our hunt for now. If you're ready to question everything, hit that subscribe button and join our next expedition into the unknown. This journey was a mosaic, a wild mix of documented history, anatomical curiosity, and tantalizing what-ifs based on bibliographical sources. The greatest mystery might not be out there in the cosmos ... but waiting silently, right behind your own eyes.